is Anya Caliendo. I consider myself an artist working in couture millinery. For the past several years, I have been working behind closed doors in solitary confinement out of my atelier based in New York. I often feel that words are too weak to translate what I feel, and so I choose to communicate to the world through the creation of unique hats. Every year, I release a single collection of couture hats. In order to bring millinery designs to life, one has to be an architect, an engineer, a specialist in embroidery, crystal work, feather work, a silk flower artist, textile designer, and I am all of those things. I am personally responsible for the design and production of each and every single hat created in my atelier. I refuse to use sewing machines or glue, nor do I outsource production of any of my designs to a third party. Each hat is created by hand in my atelier. My greatest weakness and my greatest strength is perfectionism, and for that reason, in many cases, hats can take weeks to be born. Every single detail must be polished to perfection. Every single stitch must be placed with maximum precision. The fabrics selected must be just of the right quality, finish, and color. Production of each collection requires tremendous preparatory work. Depending on the theme of the collection, I conduct an extensive research and study of the chosen material. I carefully select fabrics, create accents meticulously stitched and assemble one part at a time. Every hat has a tiny part of my soul stitched inside of it. I think of hats as a perfect hiding place, an absolute accessory, not relative or comparative to any other accessory in existence. It is a perfect place to become invisible, or depending on how you feel, shine in the spotlight. Hats allow you to adopt any identity you wish to adopt, and yet they allow you to remain your authentic you. I look at all my hats I created for the past several years as beautifully published volume of short stories where every single hat is a story within its own right. Some are intimate, very personal, some are born out of fantasy. I want every woman who looks at my hats to become a part of this fantasy, completely lose herself in possibilities. My work became my addiction and divine obsession, and I dedicated the last several years of my life to dazzling my wonderful clients, my audience, and beautiful people who walk through the doors of my atelier with millinery magic.
A beautiful sight, happy tonight, walking in a winter wonderland.
Gone away is the bluebird.
If I open up my eyes, I can see the storm, I can see the sky.
And just as my last collection was well on its way in production, it became to an abrupt end. A few months ago, at the age of 41, I suffered a silent heart attack, the same type of heart attack that took the life of my father 3 years before. I would never know that I suffered a heart attack if not for the routine doctor exam. For days prior to that, I felt extremely exhausted, but attributed it to the stress of production schedule. There were no other symptoms. Within few short days after numerous cardio tests confirmed the worst, I found myself on the surgeon's table undergoing cardio procedure to restore a collapsed artery. Unable to work, unable to hold a needle in my hands, faced with overwhelming fear, I, for the first time in my life, came to a very clear realization of the simple fact: I might not have enough time. I was somehow always aware of time, but the entire experience made it far too real for me. I felt as if I was placed in a tall glass box with just enough oxygen to survive. I could see the colors of life, the beauty of it from far away, and my only regret at the time was the fact that I was not able to complete my new collection I titled The Fellini Files. I felt I had so much more to say and so much more beauty to create. Several months of recovery robbed me of time critical for production and business operation. As a result, despite my best efforts, the budget marked for the completion, release and presentation of my new collection fell short. And this is the reason I decided to turn to the art community in hope of support to fund the remaining portion of collection and its official release in accordance with fashion calendar. At present, the Fellini Files collection remains at 50% completion. The Fellini Files is deeply emotional and very personal interpretation of the cinematic conversations by the legendary Federico Fellini, told in couture hats. Growing up in the Soviet Union, extremely closed and restrictive society, for me, Fellini movies were a very rare source of beauty, visual inspiration, a precious glimpse into another world. I grew up learning how to look at the world through Fellini's eyes. Since it is such a rich, incredibly deep, and very serious material, I knew I had responsibility to wait to pay my respect to the master until I felt I was strong enough as an artist to create a collection that would measure up to the level of the name of Federico Fellini. This time is now. My goal is to finish the Fellini Files and breathe life into every piece by showcasing the collection at New York Fashion Week, letting the glory of each design to be presented in motion. I thank you in advance for your trust and your support.